At the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis has been talking in New Hampshire in the last hour about China foreign policy and the U.S. economy. He took quite an aggressive swipe at China, railed against what he described as corporate bailouts, and said he would rein in the Federal Reserve in an economic pole, universities from accepting funding from China, and TikTok has been removed from all state-issued devices, but critics say the Florida governor, who ascribes to many of the Trump policies, is failing to differentiate himself from former president. A new poll out today shows Trump is crushing debt across nearly every category and region, with no sign the criminal indictment is facing or having any effect. This poll from the New York Times asked Republicans if they had to vote today for a candidate. Trump comes in at 54, DeSantis at 17. So was he able to change some minds today in New Hampshire? Trade organization that China would become more democratic, that it would guard against forced transfers of technology, that you wouldn't have a mass relocation of American manufacturing to China, and that we would be safeguarded against surges of Chinese imports. What actually happened over these past manipulation and espionage, our industrial base here in the United States has hollowed out. We've developed a dangerous dependence on Chinese supply chains, and our companies have been exposed to a hostile security apparatus. Well, let's speak to the pollster and political strategies Ben Telchin, who is the sort of MAGA world than the one you might hear from Donald Trump, but it sounds very similar, and I'm wondering where Ron DeSantis is going to find some differentiation if he's going to make up that ground. Well, he's got a big hole to fill to dig himself out of. Other recent poll that you noted today, he's trailing by 37 points, and no candidate in any modern-day presidential campaign has come back from more than 20 points at the stage of the race. So he's got a big hole to climb out with that. Well, it's a tough position to be in. Any Republican who's gone after Donald Trump. Donald Trump is attacked, and Donald Trump has driven up their negatives unfavorability ratings, so it's a tough spot to be in to go after a former president, because Trump is so effective at attacking people, including Faye. There's not a single one of the 319 respondents in the poll who identify themselves in the MAGA category, Make America Great Again. Not one of them said he committed a serious federal crime. So they're not going anywhere, even if he is in prison. Only part of that Republican elector. How does he capture them? Well, he's got those voters, and then there's some voters in the middle who aren't thrilled with Trump, but are open to voting someone else and waiting for someone better to come along. And as of this point, Ron DeSantis hasn't shown that's the better alternative, but it's still tough to really steep hill to climb, but it's an attempt for Ron DeSantis to try to turn things around in his campaign. I've watched Donald Trump stamping. He's very good at it, and he's actually, if you ignore some of the things that he says, which wouldn't add you, it doesn't seem to be. Look back. Early this year in January, Ron DeSantis is doing much better in the polling, and then, as he's launched his campaign and actually been on the campaign trail, he's lost ground. So I think there is something too on paper. He looks really strong and would like to be showing that with 6 months just on the -1 months from the first caucus in Iowa. But we're only a month away from the first debate, and I look at that poll, which we've just been putting on the screen, and I'm wondering why Donald Trump would even take part. Why does he need to go anywhere near Atella? Well, after I saw that poll today, I was thinking he's not going to debate. He's not going to participate in that debate. So, and he's been successful in the past of avoiding debates. So at this point, I don't see why he would participate in that debate, and then it gives an opportunity tossient. -1. A lot of campaigning and polling comes down to money. Akashi's king. When you're in a presidential race, we're here today that Donald Trump spent $40 million so far defending himself against the various indictments that he's facetious that likely to weigh on the second part of this P. And Donald Trump seems to defy political laws and the laws of political gravitation, so I think he has a unique way of getting our media attention that y'all know basically in place of TV ads or paying for a communicating to voters, and his legal problems don't seem to be weighing down with but you know the challenge is somebody has to have money to communicate a message and attacked our Trump on television and communicate to voters in some other way. And Ron DeSantis raises a lot of money but spent a lot, and he's had to lay off staff, so right now his campaign struggling look, I mean Donald Trump won before, or when no one thought he could win, and I think Democrats need to make sure they didn't underestimate him again, and he's very good at attacking people, so if he's the nominee is going to go up against Biden, he's going to attack President Biden you have to win states that are more conservative, and so I still think Trump has a chance of winning a next November, and divide campaign needs to take him very seriously and run very hard and run a very disciplined campaign to beat him, or they'll take him more seriously.